follow a ton of webcomics. A lot of them are very, very funny, but I just don't know how they ever make any money from it, other than merch, and sometimes they bundle it together into a book.
I guess.
But you compare it to the old franchise system, or the syndication, where you get picked up by the newspapers, and then bam, you just sit back and write the cartoons, and you print money, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I bet they don't make money. I mean, how much did Hagar the Horrible make? Is the guy like a multi-millionaire because of Hagar the Horrible?
He's probably made a couple of millions, realistically. I mean, it was in like probably every paper for some time, right? Like, and I feel like that was, even when I was a kid, that comic felt like, you know, something that my grandparents would have really liked back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, it felt dated then, so it's probably still not. It's probably long gone, or not. I don't know.
So there was one called Beetle Bailey. Do you remember Beetle Bailey?
No.
That was another strip. He was like an army guy.
Lots of the comics were sort of like coming out of like World War II, and then like everything after. Like, I think a lot of comics were aimed as their demographic being like servicemen and women, right? So it was there was a big emphasis on. I mean, even shows in Britain as well, right? There was a lot of shows like post-war that were about the war and stuff.
Like there's always been a very deep-rooted satirical.
God.
can't satirize someone who's already a cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, it just writes itself. Like there's nothing really.
But like so the Daily Telegraph has had this guy doing. I remember I when I did sort of work experience at the Daily Telegraph years ago. I think I met him. It's this guy called Matt, and I think he's been doing it for about 30 years. He does like a front page satirical cartoon, you know, once a week or so. Anyway, I just posted one in that I thought was relevant. D-Flex. So
I know this guy.
So
yeah,
describe this picture.
So it's the desk in the Oval Office, and there's a sign behind it saying, "Please give up this seat if an elderly or infirm person needs it," which is good. But yeah, this is like this kind of political cartoons. Sometimes they're just boring. I feel like, and also they're very of their time. So they're much. I think they're as much as the news. They're tied so densely to
so
it.
tightly.
Yeah, that whenever they do those collections of these comics, they always have to have a paragraph explaining the context. Because it's like, this comic came out because these guys were old as fuck. Otherwise,
Exactly.
you'd be like, I don't get it. Our current president is 27.
I used to have books of comic collections as well, because I think, well, it might have even been Peanuts. And I felt like when I was reading them as a kid, I didn't get any of the jokes. It was all because everything was referencing pop culture or something that happened in that week, you know, and they were supposed to be the funnies.
I used to get Mad Magazine as a kid, and that was very much commented on a lot of like current day stuff, and I didn't understand any of it.
Yeah,
but I still thought it was
Simpsons.
hilarious because, you know, the drawings and whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But
like when I talk to my kids about The Simpsons, I'm always like, you guys never laughed. And my eldest, I was talking to her about this the other day. It's like, they love The Simpsons. We put it on, they both silence watching the TV. Total silence. And me and Mrs. F are like killing ourselves laughing at some classic joke we've forgotten or whatever. And afterwards I was like, do you kids love it? They goes, oh, it's our favourite show. And I was like, what do you love about it? Because you don't get any of the jokes or references at all.
Yeah.
And my eldest, I spoke to her about it the other day. She was like, yeah, I didn't get half the jokes, but like now you watch it and you do. But it was just so well done, and they just love the characters. And it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, I also think that they enjoyed it because and it's great to see other people having a good time.
Maybe,
Like, it's very hard to put that into words, but you do enjoy seeing other people laughing and having a good time. And it's always nice to see people smiling, you know, and having fun together.
We're like that with football, with the Euro. We've been watching the Euros, but none of us are really in my house. Like none of us are like super into it. You know, like we're not into it, but it's just fun to watch together, right? So like my kids don't